Hello everyone, today we're working on a 2013 Dodge Durango. This is going to apply from 2011 to 2018 and possibly 19. Alright, so you saw me remove that retainer clip and those little plastic grommet looking things from the back. Now those are little caps to where the bolt for the calipers are. These, if I'm correct, are going to be a hex 8. It's an H8, so an Allen is the best way to describe it. Unless you have a hex big socket. H8 or H7, one of those. The problem I found right here is the clearance issue at the bottom. I think if I had a shorter set, it might not have been such a big deal. But for me, in order to get that bottom one off without any issues, I did have to get the bottom caliper bracket bolt off. So see, what I'm missing right now is the big bolt for the caliper bracket. Now I wasn't sure whether to take off the whole thing or if I was going to be able to slide it off. Luckily I was, so I didn't have to take both of them off. But now, see how I can move the caliper up a little bit and makes a little bit of clearance. So I would say if you have a shorter one, it'll be super helpful. If you have an Allen key set with enough leverage, that will work too. And if you have a super slim ratchet, that will also be helpful. Alright, so one of these gets squeezed into the piston hole. And remember to lubricate those pins. That's always important. Alright, so here we have our piston compressor tool, or caliper piston, or whatever you want to call it. We're going to go ahead and use this guy and get that piston back in there. Now if you don't have this tool, you can rent it from both O'Reilly and AutoZone. If there's not one near you, you can buy a cheap one at Harbor Freight. So hopefully at least that that store is nearby or available. Alright, so the new pad gets squeezed in there with those retainer looking things. The outer one just slides right in. This gets to go back in there, and that's that. So when you're replacing brake pads, it's pretty simple. Normally I would say replace the rotors and at minimum turn them, but there are certain cases where you can just replace the pads. Not the most ideal. However, if you're going on a budget and they're not damaged, then sure, go ahead and do it. But don't do it because of what I said. I am not recommending it. I'm just telling you what people do, and what you elect to do is solely your decision, not what I'm telling you to do. Yeah, so when you screw on these pins, just make sure to be careful. I've seen a lot of them get cross-threaded, and I think I've had one cross-thread on me. And if you don't know what I mean, it's when you don't put it in at the proper angle, and then the threads get intertwined because you put it in a different angle, and then it gets stuck, and then you keep forcing it, and that just messes up the whole thing. So once you have those in and you've lubricated them, put those caps back on. Let's come forward over here, and the brake pad set has a new retainer. Also, if you do jack up the entire car, whether it's front or rear, just make sure to put a jack stand somewhere in case your jack were to fail. We want additional safety for everyone, and we don't want anybody to get hurt. Now the retainer does require a bit of force to get in those holes. See? They're just gonna go in those round holes, and they're just gonna sit on there, that little tab. Now if you don't hold it properly, you will struggle. I left the struggling part on this video just so you can see, if you don't, you know, grasp it right, how it'll kind of tweak on you. Real world scenario, it happens to everybody. Once you do enough though, you find different ways to put it on, you know, the first time. So see right here, it got a little stuck because it went in too deep. And so yeah, this is what it will look like for most people if you're not pressing inward and forward. See, again, stuck. So what you want to do on the face of this retainer, you want to press forward. So forward as in towards the rotor, and then to the right so that it could sit in there. And then afterwards, all we're going to do is give it a little smack so we can make sure that it's sitting in there properly. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.